when the perfect, good guy is actually a covert narcissist in disguise. You've probably heard warnings about loud, arrogant narcissists who demand attention. But what if the greatest danger isn't the person demanding the spotlight? What if the real threat is the quiet, humble guy in the corner? The one who listens carefully. The one who seems to understand your exact pain and promises he is different. The perfect, unassuming good guy. It starts so beautifully, doesn't it? After all the toxic people you've encountered, he feels like a deep breath of fresh air. He doesn't boast. He actually listens to you talk about your past. He offers a shoulder to cry on and tells you how poorly you were treated. He positions himself as the safe harbor in your storm. He makes you feel deeply, truly seen. You drop your guard. How could you not? He is polite to your family, remembers the little things, and never raises his voice. He portrays himself as a protector, someone who is inherently decent and tragically misunderstood by his own past partners. He's the nice guy. The rescuer. But beneath that gentle exterior, a very different kind of game is slowly unfolding. Covert narcissism is terrifying exactly because it hides behind a mask of profound vulnerability. While grandiose narcissists wear their ego on the outside, the covert narcissist wears his ego on the inside. He believes he is quietly superior to everyone else, but he uses the role of the good guy to secure the constant admiration and pity he desperately needs. You don't notice the red flags at first because they don't look like red flags. They look like devotion. They look like someone who just cares too much. But pay attention to the subtle shift. Notice how his tragic stories always make him the innocent victim. Notice how quickly his gentle demeanor turns into a quiet, simmering resentment when he is slightly ignored. He relies on your empathy to feed his fragile self-esteem. Every time you reassure him, every time you build him up, he absorbs your energy. It's an emotional transaction disguised as intimacy. He isn't actually connecting with you, he is studying you. He is figuring out exactly what you need to hear so he can become the irreplaceable savior in your narrative. Then, the confusion begins. Small things happen that don't match the perfect guy persona. A passive-aggressive comment. A sudden, unexplainable coldness. When you try to bring it up, he looks at you with wounded eyes. Suddenly, you feel like the bad guy for even asking. You find yourself apologizing for things you didn't even do. The script has been flipped. It's crazy making. You sit there, staring at the wall, wondering if you are the one ruining a perfectly good relationship. After all, he's so nice. Everyone else thinks he's a saint. If there is a problem, it must be your trauma acting up, right? That is exactly what he wants you to believe. The covert good guy is a master of weaponizing your own self-doubt. He isolates you not by forbidding you from seeing friends, but by quietly acting hurt when you choose them over him. He doesn't yell, he sighs. He withdraws his affection just enough to make you anxious. You start walking on eggshells around a man who never even raises his voice. The cage he builds around you isn't made of iron and demands. It is made of guilt. In this video, we are going to tear down that facade. We are going to expose the hidden anatomy of the covert, nice guy narcissist. Because recognizing this manipulation is the only way to stop losing your mind. You aren't crazy. You are just dealing with someone whose entire identity is a carefully constructed mirage. Let's look at what is actually hiding there. To understand the covert narcissist, you have to look past the tragic stories and the soft-spoken charm. Inside, this man is essentially an emotional void. A grandiose narcissist fills that void with applause and power. But the covert narcissist fills it with a twisted sense of victimhood. He believes the world has fundamentally failed to recognize his brilliance. He views his own niceness not as genuine kindness, but as currency. Every favor he does for you, every time he listens to your problems, he is making a deposit in a ledger that only he can see. He isn't being kind because it's the right thing to do. He is being kind because he expects an enormous, unpayable debt of unconditional loyalty and validation in return. Watch what happens when he doesn't get the exact reaction he expects. The mask slips, just for a second. The sweet, understanding partner suddenly becomes incredibly rigid. He might use the silent treatment, disguised as needing space because he is so hurt. It is a punishing silence. It is designed to make you panic, to make you chase him and beg for his return. He uses his vulnerability as a shield against any accountability. If you confront him about a lie or a broken promise, he will instantly pivot to his own pain. He will talk about his depression, his past trauma, or how hard he tries to be good enough for you. Before you know it, you have dropped your entirely valid complaint and are comforting him on the sofa. This is called defensive frailty. It is a brilliant, insidious manipulation tactic. By constantly positioning himself as the fragile one, he ensures that you can never have any real needs of your own. Your pain will always be secondary to his perpetual suffering. You become his emotional caretaker, draining your own life force to keep his fragile ego stabilized. Notice how he subtly undermines your confidence under the guise of just trying to help. He gives compliments that contain hidden barbs. He expresses concern about your choices in a way that makes you doubt your own judgment. He slowly chips away at your independence, framing it as protective love. He needs you insecure, because a confident woman might just leave. He is deeply envious of anyone who gets the attention he feels he deserves. You might notice he quietly resents your successes. When you achieve something great, his congratulations feel hollow. He might try to steal the spotlight by suddenly having a crisis, or he might belittle your achievement with a soft, condescending smile. He cannot stand you outshining him. Behind closed doors, the resentment bubbles up. The world is full of bad people who have wronged him. Every ex was crazy. Every former boss was toxic. Every friend who walked away was disloyal. He is the only common denominator in a lifetime of ruined relationships, but the narrative never changes. He is the pure, innocent martyr bleeding for a cruel, unfair world. The cognitive dissonance you feel is the hardest part. Your brain is split in two. One side sees the loving texts, the gentle voice, the man who seemed to save you. The other side feels the constant anxiety, the hidden manipulation, the emotional exhaustion of never knowing where you stand. It's like drinking poison from a bottle labeled healing medicine. He doesn't want an equal partner. He wants a mirror that only reflects his perceived perfection. When you start noticing his flaws, when the mirror cracks and reflects the truth, his entire psychological structure is threatened. And that is when the nice guy drops the act completely. That is when the punishment begins. Let's look at exactly how that shift happens. The shift rarely happens overnight. It is a slow, methodical withdrawal of the very things that made you fall for him. The intense listening stops. The deep, late-night conversations disappear. When you try to connect, you hit a wall of polite indifference. He is still physically there, but the soul of the relationship has been abruptly evacuated. You feel freezing. You try harder. You give more. You think, if I can just be as understanding as he was in the beginning, I can fix this. But there is nothing to fix, because the man you met in the beginning never actually existed. It was a customized character he played to hook you. Now that you are emotionally dependent on him, he doesn't need to waste energy playing the role. Then comes the devaluation phase, and it is brutally quiet. Unlike the grandiose narcissist who will scream insults at you, the covert narcissist destroys you with whispers. He uses subtle sighs, eye rolls, and dismissive gestures. He looks at you with an expression of mild disappointment, as if your very existence is somehow exhausting to his sensitive nature. When you finally break down and cry from the frustration, watch his eyes. There is no genuine empathy there. Sometimes, there is even a faint, hidden smirk. Your emotional unraveling is giving him a massive supply of power. He remains totally calm while you lose your composure. He then uses your perfectly normal reaction to label you as the unstable, crazy partner. Why are you acting like this? I'm just a guy doing my best. Those words are his ultimate weapon. He gaslights you by contrasting his absolute calmness with your high emotional state. He makes you feel like a monster for expecting basic emotional reciprocity. He convinces you that your reasonable demands for honesty and connection are actually abusive and controlling. He starts a smear campaign, but he does it with the same gentle precision. He goes to your mutual friends or family and expresses deep, heartfelt concern for your mental health. He plays the long-suffering partner who loves you but just doesn't know how to handle your irrational behavior anymore. He destroys your reputation while looking like an absolute angel. You realize, with a sinking feeling in your gut, that you have been trapped in a brilliantly designed psychological web. The very traits that drew you to him, his quiet nature, his perceived gentleness, his tragic backstory, were all carefully weaponized instruments of control. You weren't loved. You were managed. You were emotionally harvested for his fragile ego. You try to confront him one last time. You lay out the facts. You express your pain. But arguing with a covert narcissist is like trying to nail water to a wall. He deflects. He projects. He twists your words until you cannot remember what the argument was even about. You walk away feeling dizzy, depleted, and completely empty. The conversation goes nowhere. And then, he discards you. But even the discard is a masterclass in passive aggression. He might just fade away, refusing to give you closure. Or he might tell you that he is too broken to give you what you need, securing his victim status one final time. He leaves you holding the guilt for a relationship he actively destroyed. He walks away entirely blameless. The silence he leaves behind is deafening. You are left alone, questioning your sanity, your judgment, and your own memory of the events. You grieve deeply, not just for the relationship, but for the illusion of the perfect man you thought you had found. It is a unique kind of psychological devastation. The nice guy has finally revealed his truest, darkest self. The aftermath of loving a covert narcissist is a haunting landscape. It is not like a normal breakup where two people simply drift apart. It feels like a psychological robbery. You wake up exhausted, stripped of your self-esteem, wondering how someone so seemingly gentle could cause such profound destruction. The confusion alone is enough to paralyze you for months. You replay every memory, searching for the moment it all went wrong. You analyze every soft-spoken word and every tragic excuse he gave you. You realize that his chronic victimhood was an impenetrable armor. You couldn't fight back, because how do you fight against someone who is constantly bleeding? You were completely neutralized by your own beautiful compassion. People on the outside don't understand your pain. They saw the mask. They saw the quiet, respectful man who always held the door and spoke softly. When you try to explain the subtle manipulation, the agonizing silent treatments, the quiet betrayals, it sounds trivial to them. You sound like the crazy one. His disguise was so perfect that you suffer entirely alone. He moves on to the next target with chilling speed. He takes his same tragic stories, his same soft gaze, and his same quiet charm to another empathetic heart. He will tell her about his crazy, abusive ex, which is now you. He will use the destruction he caused in your life as a new sob story to gain the pity of the next woman. The devastating cycle just continues. This is the darkest part of the journey. The realization that none of it was real. The emotional intimacy you cherished was just data collection. The late-night confessions were just him learning your weak spots. The love you felt was real on your end, but on his, it was merely an extraction process. Accepting this brutal truth feels like staring into the abyss. You might feel a crushing sense of shame. You ask yourself, how could I be so blind? How could I fall for such an obvious trick? But you must stop blaming yourself right now. You weren't stupid. You were targeted by an emotional con artist. He didn't hook you because you were weak. He hooked you because you possessed something he completely lacked, a real soul. Covert narcissists do not target toxic people. They target the healers, the empaths, the women with a high capacity for forgiveness and love. They seek out the very best qualities in you to exploit them. Your only crime was believing that his gentle exterior matched his internal reality. You projected your own beautiful, authentic humanity onto a hollow, empty shell. He is gone, but his voice still lives in your head. It's that soft, condescending voice telling you that you are overreacting, that you are the problem, that you will never find anyone better than him. You have to actively evict that voice from your mind. It is a parasite left behind by a coward. That voice is not the truth, it is the lingering echo of his abuse. Let him go. Let him play the victim to an audience of strangers who don't know the monster hiding behind the tears. His life is a perpetual loop of superficial attachments and hidden rage. He is trapped inside a fragile, miserable ego that can never experience genuine joy, true intimacy, or real peace. He is already living in his own personal psychological prison. The mask may have fooled you once, but the damage he caused has permanently lifted the veil. You now see the covert abuser for exactly what he is. The illusion is shattered, and while the reality is incredibly painful, it is also the beginning of your freedom. The collapse of this relationship is not the end of your life. It is the violent birth of your boundaries. Healing from a covert narcissist requires a radical shift in how you view yourself. You must take all that profound empathy, all that fierce protectiveness you wasted on him, and redirect it entirely toward yourself. You spent months, maybe years, trying to save a man who was actively drowning you. Now, it is time to use that exact same energy to rescue yourself. You will learn to trust your instincts again. The next time you meet someone who seems just a little too perfect, a little too eager to play the victim, your body will sound the alarm. You won't ignore that tightness in your chest anymore. You now know that genuine kindness doesn't require an audience, and true goodness doesn't need to constantly announce itself. Accept that you will never get the closure you want from him. He will never sit down, look you in the eyes, and take real accountability for the psychological violence he committed. Waiting for an apology from a covert narcissist is like waiting for rain in a desert. You have to manufacture your own closure. You close the door, you lock it, and you walk away forever. Set your boundaries made of absolute steel. No contact means no contact. Do not check his social media to see who the new target is. Do not respond to the random, pathetic text messages he sends months later just to see if he still has access to your energy. Every time you deny him access to your life, you reclaim a piece of your shattered psychological power. It is okay to grieve the person you thought he was. It is okay to cry for the illusion. But never confuse the illusion with the reality of the man who slowly broke your spirit. Let the ghost of the good guy fade into the background. You are dealing with reality now. And in reality, you are infinitely stronger, braver, and more resilient than you ever realized. Surround yourself with people who live in the light. People who don't need to drain you to feel whole. You will slowly rediscover the vibrant, joyful person you were before he slowly drained your color. You will find that life without walking on eggshells is incredibly peaceful. The silence in your home will no longer feel like a punishment, it will feel like peace. Your experience with this hidden abuser has given you a superpower. You have learned the darkest secrets of human manipulation, and you have survived. You can spot the quiet predators from a mile away now. You are no longer prey. You have walked through the fire of covert psychological abuse and you have forged a mind that can never be easily manipulated again. Do not let his brokenness convince you that the world is entirely dark. Real, authentic love still exists. But the path to finding it starts with becoming absolutely fiercely protective of your own heart. You are a sanctuary, and not everyone deserves a key. The next person who enters your life will have to earn their place through consistent, authentic actions. You are healing. Some days will be hard, and the memories might momentarily pull you under, but you will always resurface. You are pulling the venom out of your veins, day by day, choice by choice. You survived the most insidious form of emotional warfare, disguised as love. Breathe deep. The hardest part is over. The covert abuser has lost all his power over you. Take your life back from the shadows. Reclaim your voice, trust your deep intuition, and never apologize for protecting your peace. The perfect good guy was nothing but a fragile illusion, but your strength is terrifyingly real. You survived the silence, you saw through the mask, and you made it out alive. Now, walk forward, and never look back at a ghost again.